These changes to the card are just really bad. In today's video, we're going over the changes made to the CRO debit cards, my thoughts on them, and plans moving forward. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ben. I've made over 6 figures trading crypto. I'm on a journey to 10K a month of passive income to spend more time with friends and family, and I want to help you all do the same. Let's go. So quick story time. When I was in first grade, I had some of my best friends in my class, and we were always goofing around and trying to make each other laugh to the point of tears. One day, I can't remember exactly what I was doing that was making my friend laugh so hard, but I just kept going and he was laughing so much that he peed his pants. And I felt super bad after because he was so embarrassed and he had to go to the nurse to get a change of clothes. And I'm sure a lot of us had been there at least one time, or at least gone to the school nurse just to try to get out of class. Because I remember a lot of times we would try to just go to the school nurse and acting like we were sick just to not have to be in class. All right, back to the video. So these changes are like a day or two old at the time of this recording, but by the time you see it, it's going to be about a week or so old. My thoughts will still be the same and I want to share them with you. These changes to the card are just really bad. They even changed it a day after, but the rates have gone from Midnight Blue was 1%, now it's 0%. Ruby Steel was 2%, now it's 0.5%. Royal Indigo Jade Green was 3%, now it's 1.5. Icy White Rose Gold was 5%, now it's 3. Obsidian was 8%, now it's 5%. So most of these are cut by at least 50%, and Ruby Steel basically 75%. It's gone from 2% to 0.5%. So these are absolutely horrible, the rates dropping this quickly. I think it would have been a lot better to just drop the rates maybe by a percent, 1%, 2%, 4%, and maybe even 6% or 7 or 6.5% or something for the Obsidian. But they just dropped them by a serious amount. As we all know, there's been a huge backlash from the community, and rightfully so. And moving on to the other changes, there is now a cap for the Ruby Steel, which is $25 in the monthly reward cap, and the Royal Indigo is $50. This change isn't a huge deal in my opinion, because basically in order to reach that cap for the Ruby Steel, you would need to spend $5,000, because $5,000 at 0.5% is $25. So you need to spend $5,000 a month in order to reach that cap. And then for the Royal Indigo and Jade Green, you need to spend $3,333 to reach that cap of $50. So I don't think a lot of us will be reaching those limits, and so I don't think this change is necessarily the worst one. And then originally it was they got completely rid of the staking, and then literally less than 24 hours later they said never mind, that was a huge mistake, we're changing it to 4% for Jade Green or Royal Indigo card holders and 8% for Obsidian, Icy White, or Frosted Rose Gold. And yeah, it's still a huge change. Going from 10% to 4% is the biggest jump, and 12% to 8%. And they're keeping all the Spotify, Netflix, and Amazon. After the staking was originally taken away, it was going to just be 0, just after one day of hearing all the complaints in the community, letting them know how we really feel about it, they changed it to 4% and 8%. So they at least gave something back. So shout out to you guys for speaking up and expressing how we all really felt. These staking rates, of course, are still not as good as before, but it does change my plan moving forward a little bit. So here are my thoughts on the mistakes I believe Crypto.com made in the past few months. I completely understand that these things would be necessary for the continued growth and everything, but I think they did a poor job communicating and executing the plan. I think they were too focused on the growth of the platform and basically were forced to have to cut rates so fast over these past 4 to 5 months in order to continue where they want to be headed. I also think they've probably been spending too much on marketing, that they could have dialed that back, and this could have delayed some of these changes. They lost focus on the customers and pleasing us, in my opinion. And I saw someone say that they would have hurt us right now, their customer base, or the millions that would join later instead, and they chose the first option. And I think this was another huge mistake, because they could lose and probably have lost so many customers just in the past few months from the lack of communication and doing so many changes in a row. If they would have done a change every 3 to 6 months periodically, I think we would have all understood and taken it a lot better. All the sudden changes are what really made us upset. Now, even though I am upset and emotional with all these changes happening, I'm trying to see the bigger picture and look back at their history and path. So when I first found Crypto.com back in July 2020, I think it was kind of like the first few months of 2020 where everyone was super excited and they were doing great things. And I had been watching a ton of videos about them and their cards. The referral bonus at the time was $50, and it was also an MCO Visa card, which I'm sure a lot of you probably have never heard of the coin MCO before. So I want to talk a little bit about this. So that was the coin that was associated with the cards before. When they first had the cards, you needed to stake 50 MCO tokens, 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 for the Obsidian card. And now the price was between $3 or $4 at the time. And so basically for the card, the Ruby card, it'd be like 200, then 2,000, then 20,000, and 200,000. Now something else that you can notice is the rewards were actually different. They were 2%, 3%, those were the same, but then the Icy White and Rose Gold was 4% and the Obsidian was 5%. So it was actually lower than before, and then they raised it a little bit later, and that was kind of when everyone was jumping in and wanted to get these cards. And then they came out with the announcement later that year, switching from the MCO coin to the Crow token for the cards. So basically they were switching it from the 50 MCO tokens to 1,000 Crow tokens up to 1 million Crow tokens for the Obsidian card, which was at the time, also in 2020, would be about $160 for the Ruby Steel, $1,600 for the Royal Indigo Jade Green, $16,000 for the Icy White or Rose Gold, and then $160,000 for the Obsidian card. At this time, it was a big upset for a lot of people because the MCO token was a much smaller market cap than Crow. So the MCO token was a much smaller supply, so the market cap was like 1/100th of the market cap of Crow. So the potential of the investment just got ripped to shreds, basically. People were complaining and pretty much saying a lot of the same things I've been hearing today in the past few days, that it's a rug pull and the company was ruining everything. And then basically fast forward 3 to 4 months, and they had this thing where you could swap your MCO tokens for Crow tokens. You could earn an extra like 20% more Crow by doing the swap. And as you can see, like this is a tweet back then. They were really upset with it in August, and there was lots of people that were upset and complaining about it, and it was kind of similar to what we've been seeing recently. And basically since that happened, in the spam of the next 3 to 4 months, they literally did like almost the same thing as we've seen in the past 3 to 4 months. They just kept raising the amount of Crow that you needed to stake for the cards 3 times in a short period, and people were so mad because it went from 1,000 tokens needed to get the Ruby Steel, then to 2,500, then to 5,000 tokens. And so people were like, well, this is not going to ever go anywhere if they just keep making it more expensive to get the card, and so the price of Crow has no potential to move anywhere. And people were just so mad and saying that it was done for and it would never recover. And I decided that that would be the best buying opportunity for me, because it's like the phrase, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So I was buying Crow then, and I finally made the decision to get the card. They made the referral not $50 anymore, but now $25. I signed up for the card and I bought some Crow between 5 and 8 cents. And I just kept buying more Crow each week between like 5 and 8 cents for about 2 months before they finally had some good news when they changed it to a dollar amount for the cards. And I can see a lot of similarities happening right now as happened a year and a half ago. And don't get me wrong, I'm just as upset as you are. I don't like seeing my big bag of Crow lose a lot of its value, but here are the realizations that I came to. The rates and cashback and everything we've been receiving has been incredible. We've been very fortunate, and I knew it wouldn't last forever, even though I didn't think it would change as quickly as it did. Other exchanges are following suit and have been dropping their own staking rewards, and I think they'll continue to drop those rewards and also like their own cards. Like we might see drops in rates for the Coinbase card, other cards that are out there. And I believe that this will continue to happen, and it makes me more and more excited for decentralized exchanges. And this brings me to my plan moving forward. Before they announced the change to bring back some staking rewards, I was basically planning on downgrading to a Ruby Steel card again and just having it for the free Spotify. And then I was going to send the rest of my Crow over to the DeFi wallet to stake for about a 12% return. Will this 12% return last forever? Definitely not, but I want to take advantage while I can and also continue doing swing trades on the side with some Crow too. Since it's a decentralized exchange, it isn't connected, and these rates aren't going to be based off of the company. These are based off of the pools and the validators and that are on this decentralized exchange. But now since they have brought some of the staking back, I might lean towards downgrading to a Jade Green or Royal Indigo card for that 4% staking, since I do have a good amount of Crow anyways. And then I'll be able to use that card if I want to for things, even though it's 1.5% compared to the 3% that it was before. Moving forward as well, I will need to create new spreadsheets for the card and change up some of the game plans. So one of the things that I did recently was I barely got a Gemini credit card about a week ago, and I've been using it occasionally, and I'll probably be using it a lot more when my 6 month ends for my Icy White card in 20 days. So it gives me 3% back on fast food and restaurants, 2% back on groceries, and 1% back on everything else. It doesn't require a lockup for the card, and I'm also starting with a $10,000 limit for the credit card, which has been fantastic. And another cool feature for it is you can choose between like 40 different cryptos that you want to get rewards in, and you can basically change it at any time. So I've been sticking with Bitcoin for that because I just want to be holding and earning more Bitcoin. I don't know how many new customers they're taking on right now because a buddy of mine, Rick, wasn't able to apply for one recently. But if you get the chance, it's been pretty great for me. These rates might go down as well in the near future to follow suit with other exchanges, but in the meantime, I'll continue using it as I have been. And I'm also continuing the 1K to 100K Crow challenge because I think it'll still perform well long term despite all the hiccups and mistakes we've seen already. Currently, we are around 1,500 to 1,600 Crow on this challenge, and we'll probably do an updated video on it soon. Since we are down in price about 10 cents, we have new trading opportunities set up in the 30 to 40 cent range now. I think we could be in a similar spot as when I first started buying Crow, and we could even come down to like 20 cents, who knows. But I'm continuing to hold and buy little bits when I can. It's a tough spot to be going through, and I even consider selling some of my Crow holding if I was able to. But I have it all staking for the card and on the DeFi wallet, so I wouldn't even be able to. But after a few days of thinking, I'm seeing this as more of an opportunity, and I will try and take advantage, but also diversify more when times are good. So those are some of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is to diversify and also be willing to take more profits when we do see them and when times are good. If you found this video helpful, check out my video on Celsius, because it's another exchange that I use to stake my crypto and earn interest. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, as always, keep it in the green.